Hello, this is Theo from Hurts, and you're watching Toasted.
Welcome back in Amsterdam, man.
Great to be here. Yeah, it's been a few years now, 2.5 years, I think, since we were here last time. Yeah, it's great.
New album out, of course, last year, Surrender. We were just talking. You recognize me, of course. I recognize you. First interview we ever did was also here when you first visited Amsterdam. First album was out, and there was a lot of expectations. Was every expectation actually met for you guys?
Yeah, for us, it was when we started the band. And those early days when we first came here, we were just in it for the ride. We were taking it day by day, and all of these new dreams were coming true, and this great sort of adventure began. And what are we now, nearly 6 years later, and it doesn't seem to have stopped. The concerts keep getting bigger, the fans keep getting more sort of involved, and we just enjoy every single second of it. And we just feel so grateful that we've been given the chance, to keep doing it. It just feels brilliant. Yeah.
I was when we split up the last time, which was I think in maybe 2010 or 2009, something like that. I befriended you guys on Facebook and on Twitter, and I followed your things, and I saw your career develop. And I also thought, like, wow, what a ride these guys must be on. And then today, I saw the video for Wings.
Oh yeah. Well, I think the videos and the music is just we've just continued to push ourselves.
But is it real, man? I mean, is this the video of a rock and roll lifestyle? You're laughing, of course it is, right?
Yeah, there's parts of that are real. There's parts of that are real, but parts of it we wanted to make a video that was that sort of showed a strange reality of life on the road as a band. It was kind of heightened version of reality, but it is a strange existence, and we've not toured now for quite a while, and we're back on the road. We're 5 gigs in to the tour, and you kind of forget how surreal it is every single day. Today I took a train, actually. I took a train from Brussels to Amsterdam today.
Smart move.
Yeah, just because I figured we're on the bus a lot, and the bus is like a little island that you live on, so it's nice to get away from that every now and again. But we kind of touring now is very different to when we started. I think we're obviously so used to it, experienced in it now, and we know how to pace ourselves to get the best out of it. Because the show gets longer. The show's like an hour 30, an hour 40 minutes now. So
you can't play every song, of course, anymore. I mean, There's too much music now.
No, but we're very fortunate now that the shows feel like we're giving everybody the sort of the best, like a greatest hits tour. So it's despite only having 3 albums. So the actual mood and the atmosphere of the shows is particularly exciting. We sort of decided to do that because we could have played most of Surrender and sort of done it that way round, but we thought that for us and for the fans, it's kind of nice to give everyone a night to remember.
I saw the band rehearse, actually. What a killer sound, man. Shit.
Yeah, we've got a fantastic band. We've had the same band for the core sort of band since the beginning, and we're so grateful to have them. They're really so talented, and now we've got backing singers which elevate things a huge level. We had a lot of gospel choirs on the album, and we've never used singers on stage before. Strangely, we had an opera singer before, and we've had strings and things and dancers and things, but the dimension that the singers bring is fantastic. But yeah, the band are just brilliant.
Lots of female voices on this album, actually.
There are, yeah. It's something we toyed with a little bit on the last 2 albums, on Stay, like Mercy, songs like that. But there was a great joy on this album that I felt that a choir, it's hard to use a choir well, it can be too over the top a lot of the time. But on songs like Wings, and we also just thought it'd be interesting to start an album without my voice. It's kind of a relief for me. So the first song is all the girls. So
the opener is great. I mean, it does give you this choir, like this church-like feel. Yeah. And then the lyrics of the song that follows that is actually also point towards religion. You don't need a God to feel happy or to feel because there's a choir singing in your heart. Well thought of, beautiful, or was it just pure luck?
It's kind of luck, I think when you write the songs, they sort of come around, and then how we do them on piano or we do them on guitar, and then the job is to sort of make them into something, because they all sort of sound like folk songs or ballads when we start to write them, and that process of creating the sound and things like that, it all just comes about naturally. What the song feels like, and Some Kind of Heaven, that song felt like it needed to be very joyous and kind of, it's a different emotion for us. We've made, the last album was particularly sort of dark and sort of internal, and I think the only way we could go after that is to try and express a different side of ourselves, because we're just like normal people. We're not sad all the time, we're not happy all the time. It's kind of, we're probably a bit more optimistic than people think we are.
Hey, how hard was it actually to write the second album for you guys? Because the first one was pack jam, full of hits, like 4 or 5 hits, and then you have to come up with your second album, which is always tough, I guess.
Yeah, do you know what? The albums have been strange. Like the first album, we wrote 12 songs in a row, and that was the album. There was no like other songs. There was Affair, which was a B-side, and a song called Mother Nature, which was another B-side. So there was 14 songs, and that was all we had. There was no other song. So that first album was just
what it was,
every song we'd written. And so the second album, we didn't actually write any songs for maybe a year, 2 years or something, because we were touring that first album the whole time, because we didn't really have time and it was all a bit crazy. And then we sat down with a plan to make the second one, and it was difficult because we decided early to try and make a darker, heavier album, and I think that is fun, but it also, by the end of it, it's draining and it's difficult, and we were trying to explore sort of different things that weren't like pop songs and things like that on it, and then the subject matter in it, it was quite a tumultuous period of our life, and so it was kind of difficult when you're singing and going over the same sort of lyrics the whole time. But inevitably, there are all these albums are just a snapshot, of a period of time. And Surrender is very similar. Surrender is actually the most enjoyable time we've ever had making music, because we just decided to have fun and travel and enjoy being in a band, and let the music come naturally. And it really did, and it was quite surprising for us. And it was a really prolific time, and we wrote so many songs that we've still sort of got that we'll release, I guess, soon. That we just we built up this big bank, because we'd go to a place, write some songs, and when we got tired or uninspired, we'd just go somewhere else and sort of enjoy ourselves again. So the process changes each time. Like second album, we were just in an apartment that's probably as big as this room.
No wonder you got depressed.
Yeah, and that was it. But it was kind of fed into the music. It was this weird like cycle. Like the environment fed into the music and vice versa and things like that. And that's why it kind of sounds like it does.
Hey, listening to the album, I think it's really carefully chosen how you build the album up. Of course, nowadays people just listen to songs randomly, probably, right? Yeah. Or on Spotify, they'll listen to the whole track listing. Made me think, did you approach this as an album or as a collection of songs? It probably is an album, right?
Well, we always do, I think we love albums. We love the challenge of an album, that you've got to make every song different and every song unique and things like that. But different to the last one. The last one, we very much had an idea and a concept, and it was a lot of the same lyrical ideas, and the sounds was very similar. This one, we got together a big bunch of songs, and we had this plan to make a more optimistic, a brighter album. And so we sort of brought together the songs that we felt encapsulated those moments, and then a few darker moments. I think as the album goes towards the end of the album, it actually gets it brings people back to sort of familiar territory. But we kind of wanted to approach it and just see what it would be like to make a record like that, that had that energy and that sort of vibrancy in it. And I think when people come and see the live shows with the mix of all 3 albums, I think they all make sense. And I think that's the way we always make music, is it has to be kind of listened to in context for people to kind of get it. And that's why when we put out albums, we release songs, and random songs come out in the lead up to the album. We're quite specific about how we choose those, because when we put out Some Kind of Heaven as the first song off this album, which was, it seemed at the time as a real big sort of change from the last album. But we thought, right, we'll start with that one. Then we put Rolling Stone out, which is very similar to the last album. And then you sort of slowly paint this picture for people that meant we could put out Lights, which Lights is completely different to any other song we've ever done. And
I love Lights. I think it's a great song.
oh, thank you. But in context, they all make sense, you know, hopefully. That's the plan.
Hey, I love the way Wings was on the album. What I also loved is the video starts with "We Are the Champions" quote by Queen.
Yeah.
Who came up with that idea? Because at first I thought it was, "Hey, this is My Way" by Sinatra. And then I thought, no, hold on a second. This is a different song. It's Queen.
Yeah. It is actually. It's the first verse. Yeah. But it's one of my favourite songs. And weirdly, the director, Dawn Shadforth, and, well, we love him. We love Queen so much. You know, they've always been a huge inspiration in the fact that they just did their own thing, and they were very emotionally powerful, and it's kind of they're a weird band, you know, Queen, and all their songs sound different. And I guess we've taken from people like Bowie and bands and band like Queen, we take a lot from those, the diversity in their catalogue of music, and also those lyrics in. He's a very underrated lyricist, Freddie. I think people see it as this sort of cabaret thing, but if you really get into the lyrics, like those "We Are the Champions" ones, it's quite a hard song to listen to out of context, because we've heard it at football matches, we've heard it at the Olympics and stuff like that. But if you really isolate those lyrics in that song, it is killer.
That's why I thought it was My Way by Sinatra, you know, and especially if you put it in the video that you used, it looks like this fin de siècle, almost like people partied themselves almost to death, and then this voiceover is like really amazing.
Yeah, it was, and we actually had to ask permission to use it. We had to ask, because it was a plan from, we had it written when the director Dawn and I were working on the video. We had it written out on the wall amongst all the photographs. We had that big quote written out because it felt like it encapsulated all of this, the kind of sadness and the elation of everything. And then we came to do it, and we got the girl to record it, the Ukrainian girl who speaks it. And then it was like, now we're going to have to kind of ask. So we wrote an email to their manager, who's been their manager since the 70s. And he was really kind. He was like, what's the context? We sent him the video, and he was like, it's totally fine.
Cool.
Yeah, because I remember reading this thing about Freddie. He said that before he died, he had said to people around him, he said that, I don't mind what you do with my music, just make me look cool. Which is so great. He was like, do it. He's like, he said, I just want to be brilliant. And I think that is, I love that about him, you know. So we were so grateful that we got a chance to use it, because there was no other option. We were starting to think of other options, and I was like going to write something. I was like, I'm not going to be able to write something as good as that.
Fantastic. Great story. Again, you know, looking at that video, I was like, of course, if you blow up and you become famous as a musician, and you're a good-looking guy as well, it's so tempting to party your ass off every night, have another beautiful girl every night. How do you cope, man? I mean, there must be a period that you indulge this, and then after a while, of course, you probably go like, well, maybe I need to take it easy.
You know what the key is stamina, you know. When you first start out in the band, this is all I've learned. I was talking to someone about this the other day, is when we first started, I assumed that the parties, one day it would all be over, you know, and someone would be like, haha, it was a joke, but you're not really successful. And so every single opportunity there was to like party, to drink, to go out and have fun, we took for like 2 or 3 years, we took every single opportunity, and it was brilliant. Yeah. And then all of us, as it keeps going, you go, oh, the parties don't end. Like, you hit this point where you think, oh, right, there's always going to be a party to go to every single night of the week. And you sort of slowly realize that you're just chasing them, and they'll always be ahead in the race. So you've got to kind of
mellow out.
Not really. I just kind of like pick and choose now. I don't go to every single one. I just kind of like relax a little bit and maybe have like a night off or something. I also, like, when we tour, I absolutely love being on tour, and I get so much from doing the shows, and I find them so emotional and so enriching that I love being not being tired, you know, or being sort of like hungover or something for a concert. It's like, it's the couple of times I've done it in the past and I've been on stage and I've thought to myself, oh, I can't wait till this is over because so I can have like some food and a sleep. And I get off stage and I think, fuck, like, this is all I've ever dreamed of. Like, why am I wishing it away? So that stopped quite quick. And now I get, it's better than any booze, you know. So I love on tour. I love being there. But parties, we just pick. I like having fun. You see, I've got a very low attention span. Like I get like I'm like, what's happening? So I'm very fortunate. I work in a job where my attention span can be like looked after.